Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Fresh Out the Podcast, the number one podcast in the multiverse. I am the board game guru, game master extraordinaire, Jahananan.
And I'm the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen. This is episode 149
Ooh.
of Fresh Out the Podcast. One away from 150, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool, man. I don't know. That's an achievement. Like, a lot of people start a podcast, but most of them don't make more than, like, a handful of episodes. You know, we've been doing it.
Are easy. They're easy to start. They're difficult to be persistent for years plus. Yeah, and actually last week we were going to record, but then we ended up taking a break because John's brother Alex was on the floor. The game show. I keep wanting to say reality show, but it's a game show on Fox, hosted by Rob Lowe. Y'all may have seen the previous work. This is a really good social media, like TikTok game show, because it's easy to show the battles in TikTok form. I catch them all the time. But it was the finale of the floor last week, and Jahan's brother has been on it all season, and so that he wanted to see if his brother won money or not. And,
yeah, he wouldn't tell us. He wasn't supposed to tell us, and he didn't. And he could have won $250,000. You know, I don't want to spoil things, but yeah. Hopefully.
Do you think you could do that? Do you think if you were on a game show, regardless of if you won or didn't win, you know, obviously you signed an NDA, like you're not supposed to share it, but your closest, you know, your family members, you would think you might share with them. Do you think you could do it? Could you hide that from your close family, or do you think you would end up divulging?
I tell my spouse, but I could keep it a secret.
Did Alex tell his husband, do you think?
Probably. I don't know. I imagine, I don't know, like when you're talking about that kind of money, you know, you kind of have to be like, "Hey, I won."
Yeah,
or,
heads up.
You know, like heads up. Yeah, we should plan this money out. You know, I feel like in an NDA you're allowed to tell your spouse, but I don't know. I can neither confirm nor deny.
So, Alex, you said it says it on the show. He's a two-time Jeopardy champion. Now he's made it to the finale of the floor. So, if you're the board game guru and game master extraordinaire,
he's the game show. He's the game show master.
Game show savant.
Maybe. I mean, so he two-time Jeopardy champion. He was on the floor, made it to the final, and he won Cash Cab as well. He's also a Punderdome.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's also a Punderdome champion, and he has some other accolades. But it's just
It'll be a good opportunity to have him on the show, not just to talk about the experience of being on these shows, but like how do you consistently get cast?
Yeah,
these different.
He's really good at it. I think it's because he's such a sassy bitch. But you know, like he has my brother's got a big personality. He's a likable guy. He gets along with everybody. And, I mean, he has accolades, so, you know, people want to put him in there.
It is probably easier to get yourself on a game show when you have the resume of, like, I am a two-time Jeopardy champion, and I've done this, this, and this. It's like, okay, well, let's see how you do in this new scenario. Like, you obviously have the experience and you're TV savvy, so that's a good point.
I feel like Jeopardy is going to be compared to, like, any show you make, so, like, you probably want someone that's won Jeopardy to be on your show just to, like, see what it's like, and, you know, yeah, I'm sure that helps. But, yeah, man, he does all kinds of stuff, and it's just, I don't know, man, he was also, he did, like, local competitive karaoke as well. I don't know, man, he just likes to compete, I think.
But, going back to the nicknames, I'm just saying, say, in a hypothetical scenario, he were to become, you know, the third co-host of the show, step into, you know, the revolving chair here. And we have our nicknames, the board game guru, game master extraordinaire, the professional media and movie mastermind. What's his nickname? What's his intro on Fresh Out the Podcast? That's what I was saying. Is it game show savant? Is it, you know...
It's hard for me not to be mean because he's my brother. But,
right.
you know, yeah.
Get the right.
I mean, game show savant. Quizmaster, maybe. He could be. I don't know, I call him a fussy bitch because he's fussy. But he's also.
Your
I
words,
mean,
not mine. You're
I don't
allowed
know,
to
man.
say it because you're his brother.
And like Globetrotter, I don't know. He's been like all over the world too. So like he's had an interesting life, man.
Does he study this stuff in his spare time? Or does he just is he just naturally absorbing it all?
He reads a lot. He watches all the shows. Pop culture. He absorbs pop culture. You know, he's like there's a big moment on the show where there was another player who was like the master of Desperate Housewives, right? Or not? No, Real Housewives.
Real Housewives.
There you go.
Right.
And he's like the guy. He's the Real Housewife guy. Like he has a podcast dedicated to Real Housewives. He had all these like all this long list of housewives related stuff. And Alex challenged him on the floor to a housewives contest, and he won. So like, I don't know. He's just a smart guy. His brain holds a lot of pop culture knowledge. I mean, I don't want to toot his horn too hard, but he is, by all technicality, a genius when it comes to IQ. I don't know. I don't remember what it is, but he was gifted in school and all that stuff. So.
Well, even on the finale, one of the challenge that he participated in was poetry, right?
Yeah.
And I'm watching, like I can't remember what the one before it was, but like they did one, it was cosplayers or something, right? And it was like people cosplaying as characters, and you had to say what character they were cosplaying as. And like I knew every single one of those, right? It's just that's what this whole game is. It's like how quick you can recognize something that's shown on the screen.
But a lot of it's luck.
Poetry was a unique one, and when they started doing those, I knew maybe like one or two of them. I didn't know most of them.
He knew.
These guys knew all of them. It just blows my mind. I'm like, how? Like I can understand you happen to know Real Housewives, or you're really good at recognizing brand logos, or comic book characters, or whatever the category may be. You get into poetry and you know that on top of everything else, that's where I start being like, how do you know this?
Well, I mean, like I said, he's led a very interesting life. He used to work in the publishing department at the Museum of Natural History in New York. Like he moved to New York very young on his own. He had a lot of interesting jobs. He moved around. He's done a lot of crazy things. Like he campaigned for Hillary in Idaho, I think. I don't remember what state actually, but he's done all kinds of stuff. Like he went there for like months or like a whole month and like lived with a random family. Like he does stuff like that a lot. He's when he was working for the Museum of Natural History, he went to China to sell planetarium shows. Like I don't know, and he reads a lot. So like he just has a very well-rounded life, I think. And he absorbs knowledge, so.
Does he play video games?
He does. Like, a lot of my video game taste actually comes from him. When we were growing up, we'd always be playing, like, Roller Coaster Tycoon and Theme Park and, like, those kind of, like, SimCity and those kinds of games. And, like, I would sit and watch him play, and he would help me when I didn't know what to do, and like I was informed a lot by his taste. You couldn't tell. I do love my older brother. I do I idolize him in a lot of ways, and so he's an interesting feller.
I only ask because if I could take the hours I invest in video games and put them into pretty much anything else, I'd probably be able to perform a lot better on some of these shows.
Perhaps. I mean, yeah, you might be a little more well-rounded, but I actually think you'd be a pretty handy feller to have in a quiz situation. Jenny actually wanted you, me, and Gary to sign up for the Jeopardy trios that they were doing for a while.
Pop culture Jeopardy. I watched every episode.
I actually think that our team would have rocked that shit pretty hard.
I
Because
think we could have done well.
I think we could have done well. You have like a very broad pop culture knowledge, and you have a deep movie knowledge and show knowledge. And then Gary had like music on lock. And then I have a lot of that deep, deep nerd fucking bullshit that no one needs for anything. And so, yeah, that would have been cool for sure. And I would have liked to have rubbed it in my brother's face if I had done well. But, you know.
Well, I know we took a lot of our intro to talk about that, and hopefully we will have Alex on the show in the future.
Hopefully.
It sounds like he wants
You know,
to come on potentially and talk about his experience.
you know that other guy that he was doing the poetry against was also a Jeopardy champion, right?
Yeah, I think like had won a lot, right? Like,
Yeah, he won like 15 times. He had
yeah.
different runs. Like he had like a really big run, and then he was on the champion one, and so that guy was But I feel like that shit. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, it was good.
Well, after the floor finale aired last Wednesday, that night at midnight, 11 p.m. for
Me and
us,
Drew were texting each
when
other all night in bed.
we were Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders went live. And to say the experience was seamless would be a pretty big lie, I'd
Big
say.
lie.
So I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about our experiences with pre-ordering, because I think that there's a bigger picture conversation here. But Jahan, first I'll kick it to you. Tell me about, first off, were you able to secure a Switch 2 pre-order?
I was able to, and I did. I have a Switch coming. Managed to get through on all places on Walmart.com. So I wasn't trying it. So I'm very lucky in life that Jenny is my partner, because she always helps me do this kind of stuff. Like she cares and like wants to see me happy. So she was like in bed with me on the phone, hitting refresh on different pages, trying to find a way for me to get it. And she managed to, on her phone, get the Switch in the cart on Walmart. And I put in my credit card information and bingo bango, dude.
Walmart was kind of releasing them in waves, it seems like. Like they had their initial batch at midnight and then they kind of put them back up again. Yeah, for the uninitiated in trying to pre-order video game consoles in the year 2025, it can be really hard these days because the demand for these new consoles is extremely high, and Nintendo has a extremely dedicated fan base of people who want this console day one, including myself and Jahan. And what was made clear was that from a retailer perspective, at midnight on the date that they had established, which was for Central Time, was at 11 p.m., Best Buy, Walmart, and Target were supposed to go live with their pre-orders at that time, at 11 p.m.
Yep.
GameStop was not going to open their pre-orders until the next day when stores opened, and they would be doing, online and in-store starting at the same time. So for me, Walmart, Target, and Best Buy, I was going into it like I'm going to order from Best Buy and had that kind of preconceived notion because that's where I ordered my Switch, my original Switch from.
Yeah.
And I've pre-ordered many consoles through Best Buy and had good luck through their website. I actually got my Xbox Series X pre-order, and I was eventually able to get a PS5 when they were still in high demand through Amazon. But Amazon was not doing pre-orders for the Switch 2 at the same time as the other
Did not
retailers.
participate, no.
And I don't think that was by choice on their end. I think that's a Nintendo decision, because I was reading on Reddit, on the Nintendo Reddit, apparently the relationship between Amazon and Nintendo, as according to some Reddit user, the relationship is, quote, icy at best.
I mean, I can't imagine Japan is that thrilled with the American super company Amazon, you know what I mean? I'm sure they're not fans.
So had Amazon been doing pre-orders, I probably would have tried to do it there, but that was not a choice. So I was like, I'm going to do Best Buy. Well, Target and Walmart went up at 11 p.m. our time as advertised, and Best Buy didn't.
No, Best
And
Buy.
so
I think their website crashed immediately.
I don't know what the deal was. It was not showing up to even click pre-order. And at this time, I'm following Wario64 on Twitter. That's a big, account to follow for like when pre-orders and things like in the video game world are available. And so I'm looking there to see, okay, Target's live. People are having success there. And I'm like, okay, well, I do a last minute shift. I'm like, well, let me get on Target. And I log into Target and try to, and I get it in my cart and I'm trying to check out and I can't check out. Like I have my credit card information, it just would not process the order.
Yeah.
And I was trying for a long time. And then I'm again looking at Wario64 and it's like, oh, the website is having issues, but people are having luck on the app. And I'm like, okay, god dang it. Let me switch to the app and I'm trying to do it there. I can't have no luck. And at this point, Target was not working out for me. Best Buy still hasn't gone live, and it's like 11:20. I thought this was going to take 5 minutes, and I'm sitting here stressed. And then finally, by like 11:25, Target was like, we're sold out. And I think Walmart was kind of doing waves, so they were sold out at that time, but ended up coming back later. Best Buy finally went live around 11:30. And I was there right when it went live, and I clicked, and it put me into like an online queue, or like like you were in line. Do not leave this page. Sit here, and I'm like, and so at that point, I was super hopeful. You then messaged me that you got yours through Walmart.
Yeah.
And while happy for you, I was also like cursing your name. John got a fucking Switch and I didn't get one. This isn't fair.
Oh, I would have never. I would have never let you hear the end of
it. Finally, after 45 minutes of watching the little circle spin on Best Buy, I was able to finalize my order at 12:15 a.m. our time. An hour and 15 minutes of trying to secure, and I finally got one. So that whole story to say, yes, I was able to secure one. Jahan was able to secure one. We will both, unless something happens with our orders, knock on wood, which they won't, we'll get them. We will have a Nintendo Switch 2s in just over a month. In like a month and 6 days.
And we are going to talk about it all the time on the podcast. We're going to have to get together, man, and play some Mario Kart. Or get online or something.
And is this just the world we're in now, Jahan, where like anytime a new video game console comes out, it's just going to be absolute havoc on these online retailers trying to get one? Because, granted, it was 2020, which was a difficult year and people were at home and video game consoles were even more desired at that time. But like, even the Xbox Series X, which of course has not sold nearly to the amounts the PS5 has, like it was hard to get an Xbox Series X pre-order. Those pre-orders sold out, and the PS5 ones did. And you got to get into the online battlefield to get those. I tried to get a PS5 at launch and couldn't do it. I was lucky to get my Series X. I ended up getting a PS5 about 2 months after they released originally. So. I remember when I ordered my Switch, though, back in 2017, whenever those, or maybe it might have been 2018 when the pre-orders actually went live. I can't remember. Or excuse me, 2016. But I remember not having any problems with that. Like, I was there when they said the time was going to be. I added it to my cart, and I had it, and that was it. But now it's just, you got to get in the fray in the battlefield.
I mean, it's a pain, man, and there's all those damn scalpers, and they still don't really have that great of measures against scalpers. Nintendo had a great idea when they were going to open it up to people that have been on Nintendo online for a year and had, like, a certain amount of game. Like, that was smart. It weeds out bots, all that kind of stuff. But then they didn't do it in America because of tariffs. And they were seeing where that was going to fall. And so, like, I understand why they canceled it, but, like, man, like, I don't think...
Well, allegedly, they are still doing that here.
Allegedly.
Unless I missed something. But the invites aren't even going out until, like, May 8th. So pre-orders have already gone live everywhere and sold out everywhere. So Nintendo's doing this later through their own store. And now they're saying, though, with the demand that they might not even be able to, even if you get one through Nintendo, you might not get it on launch day, on release day. So it's like, well, what's the appeal there?
Yeah, pretty crazy. I don't know, man. It's just a lot of these companies, man. I just feel like they don't care about us. I mean, everyone knows that they don't care about consumers. That's just a fact, and it's highlighted by the fact that they don't boost their website bandwidth on these release dates, even though they know this is going to happen, and they could easily allocate a small amount of money to like boost it. You know what I mean? They don't do that. They don't have any sort of take a ticket, get in line for your order kind of system. They don't have anything like that. And it's just, they let us free for all because they don't care because they get their money in the end anyways. So I feel like, honestly, the free for all and the how difficult it is and that feeling of scarcity really just drives up demand for them. So it's a win-win for them, man. They don't give a damn about us. And I feel like that's it's a shame, but it's just consumerism, man.
I love the bit that saying anything technical is simple, like as simple as like file XYZ. Like as an example, if a game that came out on PS5 is going to be ported to the Xbox, like why don't you just say like file export to Xbox and then you're done? Like why does it take a long time to convert a PS5 game to play on Xbox? Like obviously there's a lot that goes into it, but I think it's funny to assume it's just like, nah, just do file save as and change it to an Xbox file and then put it on the console, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it seems silly that ports are that difficult to do, but I don't know. There's a lot of technical bullshit that goes into that.
But it's the same thing for this, right? Like there has to be a whole team of web guys that, or web people, I should say, that are behind the scenes making these websites stay up so that this huge flood of consumers can come in and get these products. But like with Best Buy, it truly felt like the person that was supposed to basically click like make pre-orders live
asleep at the wheel, man.
Just like forgot to hit the button. That's kind of how it felt like.
Nah, see, I bet it was all
difficult than that.
I bet it was automated and it didn't go off and they took too long to notice. I bet that's what happened. And yeah, man, I don't know. Like I know that's hard to manage all that stuff, but like I can guarantee you they did not spend any money to get extra bandwidth on their websites. So, just a shame.
And gamers in general can be an entitled bunch, and so when you look at the online comments during all this, and when people are trying to get pre-order, the people that couldn't get them are just so like, fine, I didn't get one. I'm never going to buy this console anyway. I'm boycotting it. I'm done playing video games. Like that's just the reaction.
If we hadn't gotten pre-orders, I don't think we would be that butthurt. You know what I mean?
No, I mean honestly, I would have been fine. Like
I'd been fine.
I would have waited till they came out and then seen when the next wave of orders went on and tried to get it. But it is exciting for us and for this show that we'll have them and be able to talk about them. And just to confirm, I think we both got the version that has the new Mario Kart World included.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
100%.
And that's all I got. Like I'm not worried about pre-ordering or ordering any accessories or anything like that.
I know some of the ones that I want already, but like I'm not, I don't know, when I'm looking at the where to order them from, like it's all janky. I don't really know if they even know what's going to be available and when, and so I'm kind of waiting.
They rose the price on a lot of the accessories because of tariffs.
Yeah.
Like, the main thing that I'm kind of has appealed to me is the Switch 2 Pro controller.
Same.
But like I already have a Switch 1 Pro controller that works really well.
I don't.
And essentially my understanding is the only difference is the button, like an extra button on it. I don't know.
Will your Pro controller be compatible on the Switch 2?
My understanding is that all Switch accessories are compatible with the Switch 2.
Even third party?
with the exception, I don't know. Well, mine's a Nintendo branded Pro
Yeah,
controller,
of course.
but like obviously certain things like the Ring Fit ring, things like that are not going to be compatible. But
Yeah,
my understanding is like your Joy Cons from the Switch will work on the Switch too. Your Pro controller from the Switch will work on the Switch too. Um,
a
that type of
little a
stuff.
little shade to throw at Nintendo. Both of my sets of Joy Cons have stick drift real bad, so that's fun.
I don't have that issue, but I also have probably played my Joy Cons themselves a lot less heavily because I play.
You have a Pro
I'd
controller,
say
yeah.
90% of my Switch time has been played while docked, and I use the Pro controller.
I would say about 80% of mine has been handheld. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, no, that's fair. And yeah, so the things I want a Pro controller because I've never had one, and like I was gonna get one for the Switch, but I was like, Switch 2 is right around the corner. I'll wait. And so I'm gonna get the Pro controller for the Switch 2. I saw that they have the camera, but Hori, I think that's how you say it, HORI, they're a
Hmm.
peripheral company, and they're making a cheaper camera that looks like PD Piranha, and it looks awesome. And I think it
Yep,
can
I've seen
close its
that.
mouth so that it covers the camera, and that's just cool, man. And I want that. It's cheaper than the Nintendo branded one, so I'm like, I want that, and I probably want an extra set of Joy Cons at some point, but we'll see.
I was just looking, and Amazon doesn't even have Switch 2
Nope.
accessories for sale or anything yet. They've got nothing related to the Switch 2 is available on Amazon, which is crazy.
You never really, yeah. You their relationship must be bad because you've never really been able to get that much Nintendo stuff on Amazon.
Yeah, yeah. It's wild. It's news to me. I guess I didn't realize how bad it was until seeing this. So,
Never really thought about it, but yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, Switch 2, man. I'm looking forward to it.
The
The,
hype
the
is
other
real,
accessory,
dude.
I think I'll probably end up getting the GameCube controller with the Switch 2 at some point too, because I am looking forward to the GameCube emulator, and if they continue to add more
Yeah.
games to it, it'll be fun to have a
I've thought about it
GameCube
too.
controller to go back to.
I'm wondering if because I have the GameCube controller adapter for the Switch, so I'm wondering if it'll work because I have the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Edition GameCube controller that came out with the game, and so
Yep.
like I'm wondering if it'll work, and if so, I'm good. If not, I might have to get one because that's
Yeah,
also sick.
I'm honestly not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Because I think I had that too, and I just was assuming that it wasn't going to work with it, but I don't know.
I'm gonna try it out before I buy it, but yeah, absolutely, dude. And then yeah, man, the hype's real. Can't wait to talk about it more. Um, I can't wait to see what games come out, dude.
Yeah, same. I mean, obviously I'm excited enough about Mario Kart World and then playing Donkey Kong Bonanza when it comes out.
Same.
It's like it's just nice to know that I will be able to play those games at release right now. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Enough about Switch 2. Enough because I mean this is going to be a trending topic for us
For a
for the
while,
next
yeah.
6 weeks basically until the console's released.
That's it. Oh boy.
Uh, and less than that, actually, it's probably closer to 5 weeks.
Woo! Don't tell me that,
Which is pretty
man.
crazy.
I'm trying not to think about it because now I'm getting too excited. But okay, let's talk about let's put a little ice in our pants. Talk about some movies. Although
Yeah, yeah, we'll go into
the movies this week seem pretty hot.
yeah. Well, so Sinners has now at this point been out for almost 2 weeks,
Yeah.
but it's still a topic of conversation because it did this thing that's extremely rare, right? So what's typical in a lot of movie releases that are released wide theatrically is they have their big opening weekend and they make however much money they make, and then going from week 1 to week 2 you typically see about a 50% drop,
Yeah.
right, in the box office revenue domestically. So like a movie comes out and makes $50 million, you could see it making $25 million the following weekend. Now, some movies, if they open big but have really bad word of mouth or poor reviews, the drop off might be bigger, and that's always a story. You see those headlines, right? Like, oh, the new, I don't know if this is what it was, but I'm just using it as an example. But like, oh, Captain America Brave New World opened at this much and then had a 72% drop in its second week, and showing that, it has not been well received, or the fans are not like it, whatever it may be, or those kinds of headlines. I think that like Justice League and Batman uh, versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, like when those movies came out, that was a big story because they just essentially underperformed. They made millions and millions of dollars, but they underperformed considering that the studios wanted those to be billion-plus-dollar grossers. All that to say,
Yeah.
Sinners saw a 6% drop between week 1 and week 2 domestically, which is kind of unheard of.
Word of mouth was good, man.
Yeah, Sinners made, let me see, I'm pulling it up to make sure I have my numbers right. It made $48 million domestically in its opening weekend, and made 45, almost $46 million in its second weekend. Pretty crazy. It's made about $175 million worldwide, and this is an original property, from Ryan Coogler and Warner Brothers, and it's put it this way, Jahan. I saw it on opening weekend, and this is easily, without hesitation, the best movie that I've seen this year. Probably the best movie that I've seen in quite a while. I I
Wow.
wasn't even looking forward to it that much. Like I knew it was Ryan Coogler, and I'm like, cool. Ryan Coogler win in my book. I love Michael B. Jordan. I really like a lot of the other supporting cast in it. Haley Steinfeld, of course, Delroy Lindo, and like a few other people that are in it. So like, I was sold on it just by who was in it and who made it. But not the previews, whatever. I thought looked fine. Vampires, whatever. I was blown away, John. Like this movie is really good,
It's what I'm hearing, man.
and
My little brother was also. Both of my brothers were very taken with this movie as well, so I'm excited.
yeah, I kind of can't stop thinking about it since it came out. And there's some really cool set pieces within it that, in any hands lesser than Ryan Coogler's, could have been really hokey or not worked. But there's some big swings that really do work. And yes, it's a vampire movie, but like there's a lot of non-vampire stuff in this movie that's really cool. But when it does get to the vampire stuff, it's just done really well, and it doesn't ever have to spoon feed you the rules of vampires. Like it kind of assumes how vampires work in lore, and obviously, as vampires have been around in media for decades,
Hundreds of years.
yeah, like they everybody can kind of do their own spin on the
Yeah.
lore, right? Like in some things, garlic and crosses don't have any effect on them, and vampires will even say like, "Ha, you thought that would work? It doesn't work here." But in a lot of media, it does, and so it's kind of neat that we're in a place where there's so much of this that people can kind of choose, creators I should say, can choose like what they want to use and what they don't want to use. And I just feel like the way everything's incorporated in Sinners is done really well. The performances are great, the direction's top notch. um, Ryan Coogler, come to find out, I didn't realize he's never directed a movie without Michael B. Jordan in it, which he's so good. Like Michael B. Jordan, I've always liked, but seeing him in this, I'm like, dude, this guy's a movie star.
Yeah.
Just has so much charisma. But yeah, I can't praise it enough. I think everybody should go see it, especially if you're a fan of genre and things like we are. Go see Sinners. It is the best movie I've seen this year.
Yeah, trying to get a babysitter so that we can take the whole family to go see it this weekend. So we'll see. Yeah, I wanted to see it last weekend, but it's just hard with the kid, man. But yeah,
I trust me when I tell you, I understand.
I've
And
heard
I go to see a lot of movies by myself these days because it's hard for all of us to get away.
I've heard a lot of different takes about Sinners. Like this movie is really big time. It's like an almost all black cast with black directors and writers, and it's just a masterpiece. And for the culture, fantastic. And so here's a couple things that I hear. You tell me if this is true or not. So Ryan Coogler, after this movie, has cemented himself as one of the greats. Is that true?
Yeah. So a lot of people had been kind of claiming that anyway. Like after he came off the press and made Fruitvale Station with Michael B. Jordan in it, and then you know took Creed and made that into a big franchise when it was like, this is like the seventh movie in the Rocky franchise, and it's kind of a spin-off and kind of a thing, but it really redefined that franchise and
Yeah.
took it in its own direction. It was very impressively done. And then Black Panther, which was a project that a lot of people thought would fail, um, not only didn't fail, but just got a Best Picture nomination and did all these things, like really elevated the property and became not just like an MCU B tier movie, but like one of the best performing and best reviewed Marvel movies ever.
Yeah. It
So that was
elevated the
considered another
entire
win.
MCU. Yeah.
And then, there's a part of me, like I said, there's 5 movies that Ryan Coogler's directed, and 2 of them are Black Panther movies. But even Wakanda Forever, considering all the hoops and difficulties that came up when making that movie, I mean, obviously, like terrible. What happened with Chadwick Boseman passing away was terrible, and when it comes to the making of this movie, obviously is a huge challenge because it's like, how do you go from there when your star has passed? And the fact that Ryan Coogler was able to make that movie and make it work, and it's not as good as the original Black Panther, but the fact that it was a success and was still good despite it all, I think shows as an artist how good Coogler is. And then now we're seeing him with this whole original property that's all his brainchild is really impressive. So I don't know, I respected him a lot, and I don't know if I thought he was one of the greats beforehand. I was like, yeah, okay, we'll see. But now after Sinners, I'm like, yes, anything Ryan Coogler puts out, I will be there opening
That's
weekend to see
exactly
it.
what I was told by someone else, that anything he puts out from now on, you'll see. And so, yeah, that's why I was asking. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. That's Sinners. Everybody go see Sinners from Michael Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld. Absolute winner. Certified fresh?
Definitely certified
Of course.
fresh. So
Of course.
really enjoyed it. I went and saw The Legend of Ochi. This is a new A24 kind of family film, which like A24 doesn't do a lot of family films. It's a lot of like kind of indie dramas or comedies, or like a lot of awards fair, a lot of horror movies, but they're kind of the elevated horror movies that not much of a the list of family films in A24's arsenal is small. And this is one that's kind of trying to invoke the feelings of like E.T. or Never-Ending Story or something like that. It's about a journey of this young girl who bonds with this, this fictional creature on the island of Carpathia. And the thing is, like, before the movie started, the director appears on screen. He's like, there's hardly any CG used in this movie. Like, it is mostly practical effects and things like that. So keep that in mind. And the puppetry and everything involved with the Ochi creature that's in this movie is pretty incredible. Like, the creature looks real a lot of times, and the way it moves and looks around and blinks and so on. Like, they obviously put a lot of love and care into that. The plot of the movie and pacing of the movie, I think, probably need a little bit more work. This is only like a 90-minute movie, and it dragged to me a lot.
Ooh.
And while the puppet is really cool, there just wasn't very much there other than that. So I was like,
as a big fan of puppets and puppetry, that's a shame. That's a shame. It takes more than a good puppet to make a good puppet movie, though.
I will say that's my take on it. There's a lot of positivity and positive reviews coming out from this movie from people that are seeing it, and they are, really love the magical nature of it and so on. Willem Dafoe is in this. He plays the father who's like trying to track down his daughter, who's trying to get this Ochi creature back with its family, and he's trying to stop her. And he's, Willem Dafoe's always going for it and always fun to watch. And I, appreciate all that, but still, it was like, this was predictable. It has some long stretches where there's not much going on, and I don't know. I just thought it kind of dragged, but the puppetry and creature design and everything in it is really impressive. So it's cool to watch that stuff. But I just didn't walk away with much else other than that. So that's the Legend of Ochi. I think it's in select theaters now. John, have you seen The Accountant, the original, the one that came out in 2016 with Ben Affleck?
Refresh my memory. I don't think I have.
The Accountant came out in, I believe, 2016. It's Ben Affleck, and he plays like an autistic guy who works as an accountant, but he has worked for like a lot of like mobsters and things like that. And he's essentially like a genius, right? Like he is good with numbers and so on, but he also okay. I can't. It's hard to even say all this with a straight face because this movie is played so seriously, but it's all insanely ridiculous. Like his father is like a military psyops officer who, when their mother left them, like he trained his kids, one of which is autistic, to basically be like supreme hand-to-hand fighters, and like good with weapons and all this kind of
I'm
stuff.
shaking
Like,
my
that's
head.
ridiculous in itself. And so now this autistic guy is an adult and works as an accountant, but uses his skills like behind the scenes and all this stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's played super seriously. And in the first movie, he's brought in by like this big technology company to review their books and basically see like where they've lost money or what the deal is. And he finds this entire crime ring like underneath all of that. And now,
Does he ever like point a gun at somebody and go, "There's red in your ledger," and then shoot them in the face?
no, I don't think those words are
Okay.
spoken, unfortunately. And The Accountant 2 is now out almost 9 years later after the first one. And it's really interesting because, like, I think that they've realized now Ben Affleck playing like an autistic guy, whatever, it just doesn't play as well in 2025 as it did even back in 2016. Not to say that he even played well then. And so like they don't even say the word autistic in this movie. Like they almost try to make him a little bit more like OCD leaning. But still, it's just an excuse for an action movie and to have guns and explosions. And this one gets away from the actual accountant parts of it, except for like a couple scenes. It's basically an excuse to have Ben Affleck and John Bernthal on screen together shooting things.
They're
and,
stabbing
and I
people
enjoy
with
that.
pens, hit people with calculators, all that kind of stuff.
They have good chemistry. I like John Bernthal and everything. And you have Ben Affleck playing like this straight laced autistic guy with very little personality. So having Bernthal being like just ultra charming, charismatic is a fun, you know, folly to that. And,
Yeah, I'm a
and so
fan.
I enjoyed them.
I'm a fan of that guy. Do they ever look at each other and go, "It's time to balance the books"?
John, are you writer? Have they recruited you for these? I think you might need to get on The Accountant 3.
I could probably write a better Accountant 3 than whatever piece of shit they're gonna dump out.
I don't know. These are just the ultimate like garbage action movies that are dad movies, and all
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Oh, I'm a dad now.
first
Maybe I'll
one-
like it now.
Maybe the first one I actually probably enjoyed a little bit more than the second, but these are really dumb and take themselves too seriously. But there is some fun action and some silly scenes in it that I enjoy. If they made an Accountant 3, I'd probably go see it. So I'll put it that way.
Fair enough.
That's it for me for movies, but you did have one.
I did have one. I managed to watch Captain America Brave New World without, supporting it, if that makes sense. So I watched it through a means and saw it, and because I wanted to see it, I wanted to see what they were talking about with, the adamantium and all this nonsense. For those of you that don't know, I boycotted this movie for political reasons because of a certain character that while they did reduce her role, they still had her. All in all, the movie was fine. I thought the leader was an interesting bad guy. He looked really stupid, and the original design for him was much better.
I just saw, actually, I think just today, I was watching an Instagram video or reel of the original makeup tests.
Way better.
With him in it and like looking more comic accurate with just the big ol' head.
The big head was better. The lumpy head was stupid. It made him look like a lich or like an undead of some kind, and it was just dumb. All in all, the plot was pretty interesting. I feel like the Red Hawk stuff for me kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I get that he was being slowly converted and all that. Like, I get it, but it was kind of dumb. The way they went about it, there is a storyline within there that I could see it happening more believably and more interestingly. I liked the stuff with the old super soldier, Isaiah. He was cool. He was in the Winter Soldier, and it's nice to see him come back. It's nice to see him in a mentor role. Sam, I like as Captain America. I think he's a really interesting character. I think that the fact that he refuses to take the serum, he regrets it sometimes, but like it does keep him human, and it keeps him from like going crazy with power. You know, like he stays on a very good level of like the good guy. He's a good guy. So like all in all, the movie was fine. I'm annoyed because like the character that was in it that I was boycotting for, she was kind of unnecessary, kind of tacked on. They could have just
completely unnecessary. Like,
yeah,
not memorable at all.
I don't know what she did. I don't know why she was there. I think she was there just to, you know, like kiss a certain country's ass. Thank you, Hollywood, for doing that during this horrible time in our culture. But hey, I'm sorry, man. I don't support genocide. That's all I'll say about it. But yeah, man. Like I thought, like why not just make her an ex-widow? Like she was like from the Red Room. She was an ex-widow. Like why do you have to add this other thing? And it's like, and her character was just stupid and not good and pointless. So yeah, a lot of people boycott this movie, and you could have avoided that by getting rid of that. So hey, but all in all, the movie was fine, watchable, I guess entertaining. Honestly, like it does set up adamantium, but all you need to know is it comes from the Celestials. Wow, look at that! Everyone fought over it. Now it's done, and it's not comic accurate. So I'm mad about that. But see, the part that annoys me is that once you make adamantium, right? Once it solidifies, you can't mold it. So, like, is it liquid inside the Celestial? Or are they just completely ignoring that? Because I think they're ignoring that. And that makes me mad because that, like, changes Wolverine's whole thing. Because the whole point... Whatever, man.
You can't think about it that hard, John. You can't do it. You're gonna hurt yourself.
This is lore that's very close to my heart. I'm a big Wolverine guy. Like I've always loved Wolverine. He's always been super cool ever since I was a kid. And it's just like, man, like are they just gonna put liquid on his bones for fun now? Like what? I don't know, man. It is what it is. But hey, Captain America: Brave New World. Not certified fresh. It's fine. Watch it if you feel like it. If you really need to know everything MCU, watch it. But you're not missing anything.
The good news is we're on the eve of Thunderbolts releasing, and the reviews and reactions to it have been pretty positive. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
Finally, a good MCU anything. The last thing that was good was Agatha All Along. That was very good. And then everything else has kind of sucked since then. So we'll see.
Yeah. Guardians 3 was okay.
Guardians 3 was okay.
Wakanda Forever was okay. Spider-Man No Way Home was good. There were some things in there.
Those were all before Agatha, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. So the last thing was Agatha. But yeah, before that, there was some...
all that's come out since Agatha is Daredevil and Captain America,
Daredevil's
and
good.
was there another show, an MCU show between there? I can't remember.
I can remember.
Yeah, so
But I really
yeah,
need to
but it
get
sounds like
on.
Thunderbolts will change that.
Speaking of Disney shows, I really need to get on Andor season 2. I haven't watched any of it yet. No spoilers.
I haven't either.
I
So.
really need to. Andor season 1 was the best Star Wars property, period. So,
Well, that actually is a good time to transition to fresh TV of the week because are you caught up on The Last of Us?
I made sure to be so that we could talk about it.
Okay. Well, we just as of now we're recording. There are 3 episodes available, and where are we on the statute of limitations here as far as spoilers and what we can talk about in this
I
show?
I don't feel like episode 3 had a lot to spoil. Episode 2 does, but I feel like it's been
Episode 2 is
long
the big
enough.
one.
I feel like it's been long enough and everyone knows it happens.
Yeah. Well, and it's one of those things too, where like as somebody who's played the game Last of Us Part Two and knows what happens in that, I didn't think the big thing that happens in Episode Two was going to happen as early as it does in the show. I thought they were going to drag it out a little bit longer, but I started to see some things because, like, honestly, that Sunday night that it was airing, it was like third on the list of priorities for me because WrestleMania was on that night and I wanted to watch that, but the Rockets playoff game was also happening and I wanted to keep up with that, and so Last of Us was low on my list. But then I had seen a tweet earlier in the day, and I understand these tweets, but I hate these tweets that are like, make sure you watch The Last of Us live tonight because you don't want to be spoiled on it. And it's going to be one of those ones that people are talking about. And I'm like, fuck off. Because, on one hand, I can appreciate the warning.
Yeah.
I could appreciate the heads up because, you don't want to be spoiled. But then also just by saying that, you're kind of
spoiling it. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are like, when I'm like, no spoilers, they'll say something like tangentially to the point, and it's almost always enough for me to extrapolate what's going to happen. It's like it's not that far of a leap from what you said. And yeah,
it's almost like when you have that friend that watches it first, like watches it before and sends that message in the group chat and is like, yo, the newest episode of XYZ is totally fire. Y'all get on that. And you're like, I'm going to watch it. I don't need you to say that. I'll watch it when I want to watch it. And like now your expectations are set because this person said this. And yeah. But all that to say, when I saw the tweet saying, hey, watch this live, big thing happens, I was like, well, as somebody that's played it and knows what's going to happen, are they really doing that now?
Yeah.
And sure enough, they did.
Sure enough, they did.
And spoiler alert for The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2, but Joel is killed off in it just as he is in the video game early on. And in the game that happens in the early hours, and then the story fully transitions to being Ellie's story. Which is kind of one of those things. The Last of Us has really always been about Ellie, and even though you play as Joel in the first game, it's really more about Ellie. And this franchise moving forward is Ellie's story, and so now we're fully there. So the episode 3 kind of takes the break and gives them a chance to grieve and the fallout of that, and kind of setting the series and where it's going next. And what are your thoughts on the show so far, Johan?
Yeah, so far so good. Episode 2, the horde scene, the attack scene, the siege was awesome. Like those scenes are like, when it comes to like the zombie infected genre, those scenes matter a lot to me. Like they're big. That's your chance to do the thing and show like the hopelessness of it. And they put on a really cool defense. I like some of the practicality in what they were doing. Like I like that the barrel launchers launched the gas barrels far from the wall so that they didn't catch the wall. Like smart stuff like that, little details. I thought the thing with the dogs was unexpected and cool. I thought that one guy, man, the flamethrower thing with the what are the big guys called, bloaters?
The bloaters,
That
yeah.
was cool. I liked that they had like a plan, that they had just told everybody this plan, and they were ready to go. Cool things happened. There's a lot of death and mayhem and chaos, and it was an action packed, awesome episode. And then at the end of it, there's this huge drama, this sudden end to a beloved character, which I feel is also important for this kind of story. I feel like in The Walking Dead in later seasons, they just got scared of doing that. They just stopped killing off these people. And it's like, okay, but that's kind of why we all watched. What are you doing? Um, and yeah, this episode 2 was good. Episode 2 was interesting and fun. There's a lot of people complain about dumb stuff when it comes to this show. They complain about like gay storylines and this and that, and it's like, shut up. Like, just like, why you got a problem with it? This show's solid. I feel, I don't know, man. Somehow it manages, maybe because it's on HBO, but somehow it manages to just feel a lot grittier than The Walking Dead, which is crazy because that show is brutal. Like, people died all the time. People got their heads caved in with bats, stuff like that. But this show, it feels like there are no rules, like, at all. Anything could happen. Any kind of violence. You really don't know what you're about to see, and that can be intense. It kind of gets the pulse racing. And so, yeah, I'm really liking it. That was episode 2, though. Episode 3, very different story. If you want to talk about...
Not as much action.
Not as much action. Not as much action. It was more of a... what do you call it? Exposition episode. Ellie and her friend, Dora the Explorer... because she played Dora the Explorer. I don't know if you know that, but she did. She was, which is really funny because she helps her fill a backpack in this episode. And
she's also one of the 3 girls in our favorite movie of 2024, Madam Web. She is one of the three girls with Madam Web herself.
I'm glad she got away from that.
I believe she's playing Hawk Girl in Superman.
No.
Yeah.
That's a good cast.
Yeah, Isabella Merced having a really great couple of years here. I mean, even though Madam Web was a stinker.
Yeah.
Madam Web. Come back as Hawk Girl, and I feel like I have to say it Hawk Girl, because if you say it fast, it's almost like you're saying Hot Girl. Hawk Girl.
Well, it's not far off, man. She's very beautiful.
Hawktua
girl, yeah. Oh, God, I bet she's getting way too much of that. Poor girl. But I feel like the only careers that got fucked up by Madam Web was like Dakota Johnson. Or is that her name? Dakota Johnson?
Yeah, Dakota Johnson. Yeah, you're right.
I feel like everyone else kind of got away from it, except for the bad guy. I hope I never see the bad guy in anything ever again. He was a terrible actor. But hey,
fair enough.
It is what it is. Yeah. So the episode 3, it's funny. Dora the Explorer helps you fill a backpack, and then they go on their revenge trip. So you kind of get more of that, traveling through the wilds survival kind of thing during a zombie apocalypse, which I always think is really fun. And we see some interesting characters. We see a group of people with scars on their faces. That I've since learned are from the video games. And we see some things happen there with the wolves and them. A group of people called the Wolves that perhaps Abby and her crew are a part of. So there's a lot of information.
The takeaway there is that the Wolves group is much bigger.
Much bigger
than anticipated.
Yes, bigger and organized and aggressive. And so...
yeah.
They set up a lot of cool stuff. I think after episode 2, you don't need to have everything go crazy in episode 3. I think you do need to set more stuff up. You kind of need a cool off period almost. But yeah, I'm looking forward to episode 4. Last of Us season 2, just as good as season 1 so far.
Yeah, I think I'm just surprised with those first couple episodes at truly how close to the video game they were playing it. I mean, it's like. I mean, truly is like almost exactly the same. And then episode 3 takes a little bit more time to breathe and throws in some more story and stuff. But yeah, it's been good. It's one of those things where I'm like, I love that game so much, but I feel like I've almost done myself a disservice with the show because nothing has really surprised me in the show. I mean, the production value is really good. The big battle scene, like you said, the siege in episode 2 is really good, and that's not in the game. That was just a cool action scene added in for the show.
It was sick.
But as far as like the major story beats, it's going right along with the game. So I'm interested to see how it all progresses. I'm definitely really enjoying it. The Last of Us, and I apologize if I've told this story already on the show because I know we've talked about like the premiere and everything. But just this game, when it came out, it came out summer COVID, summer 2020, in the midst of COVID. We're staying at home. And any new good content, because there weren't many good movies coming out at that time because everything was delayed. So video games were a great escape during that time. And even though this game, the world of The Last of Us deals with an infection and a plague, whatever, just the story was so good that it was an amazing escape. And so it's just such a memorable experience I had playing it at that time. And when Joel dies in the game, like, I was shook by it. Playing the game, I did not know it was going to happen. I knew that in the game you played as Ellie, and I assumed that Joel would just be sidelined or something happen. I didn't know they'd kill him off, and so when that happens, I was shocked in the game. And the introduction of the Abby character and the role she plays, because in the game you play as Abby. Also, you switch off between playing as Ellie and Abby, so you see both their stories. And so I assume that there's going to be episodes in the series that are going to focus just on Abby and what's going on with her. Like episode 4 very well could be like a lot of Abby stuff and very little Ellie. You just never know.
Yeah.
But just all that they did in that game, it made me question or think about it so much more deeply than a video game normally would. Because the character of Joel, if you think about it, even though he's your perspective character in the game and in season 1, look, Joel's kind of a piece of shit. He's a lovable guy. It's Pedro Pascal. He's super likable, but also like Joel is kind of a scoundrel. And when it comes to what happened with Ellie, he chose to save one life instead of the millions of lives he could have saved. He chose to save one life
Potentially.
Then murdered everybody and then lied about it.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, he kind of got what was coming to him. And even though we love that character and see things through him and you don't want him to die, it's like, in the grand scheme of things, dude kind of had it coming. And it's the first time that a video game has made me think about things in that way. And Ellie, of course, is innocent and all that. But now she's wrapped up in this whole thing and out to get revenge. And I think it's just... It's very good character work, very good story work, and that's why Naughty Dog is the best in the business as far as video game stories, and why The Last of Us game lends itself well to a TV show and drama and characters and so on. So that's kind of my take on it. Is like the show is great. It's not really surprising me in any way, but it's still really solid. But I just love the source material so much that I like diving into this world each week.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I'm all about it, dude. Very happy. Well, that's it for Fresh TV this week. We got some other stuff, though. So, I don't know what's up with video games lately, Drew, but do you feel it? Do you feel the quality? Such good games are coming out right now. A lot of them were on our most anticipated. Some of them were out of nowhere surprises, but hey, let's talk about it.
It's been a capital G great last 6 months for video games for me. I mean, from the Indiana Jones game that came out on Game Pass on Xbox in December and is now available on PS5, to games like Metaphor ReFantazio and Avowed and South of Midnight, and now the Oblivion drop and Clear Obscure Expedition 33. I mean, gamers are, we're dining out right now, man.
Dude. I mean, we're eating.
Yeah, and so, especially if you have Game Pass, because a lot of these games I mentioned, even if they're on PS5, are available day one on Game Pass, which is crazy. The Oblivion remaster, as you mentioned, is has been the worst kept secret in gaming for months, if not years at this point. It was part of the uh, when Microsoft was trying to purchase Activision Blizzard, and were in trial, and there were leaked documents, and I think the Oblivion remaster was mentioned in those documents, so people have known this has been a thing for a while. But I don't think people were necessarily expecting it to be announced and dropped on Game Pass and in stores the same day.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And it was pretty cool. Have you played it at all?
I have.
How much time have you put into it?
Not too much. I put a couple hours into it, but I've played. So I played Morrowind for hundreds of hours, and I played Skyrim for hundreds of hours. Oblivion, I played for far less time. I played it the least. So I was really excited when the remaster came out. I'm like, I get another chance at this. So I've only played a little bit so far, but I've definitely gotten a taste of the differences.
Yeah, it looks really good. And when they showed the trailer, I was like, wow, this looks like a full-on remake. And they've done a lot of quality of life changes that I think are really good. But when you do play it, you're like, oh yeah, this is definitely still Oblivion. It kind of feels like a 360 game a little bit, but like one of the best 360 games that came out. And so it remastered, and with these changes, it feels great. But I kind of want to get into the conversation here, because I played I've probably put in like maybe 6 hours into it or so. Like, I did the first few quests. I started up the Thieves Guild. I started up the Dark Brotherhood. Like, I've done a few things in it to get started. But I was really looking forward to another game that came out on Game Pass last week, and is also available on PS5. And it's an RPG called Clear Obscure Expedition 33. It's the first game from a new studio called Sandfall Interactive, if I have it right. I'm pulling it up to make sure, but I believe it's a new studio made from a lot of folks that have worked on other big RPGs that all came together to make a new studio, and this is their first game. And it's a French studio, and man, this game is really good.
So good.
And it raises the question for me, because we can get into it and the why this game is so good, but I don't know what Microsoft was thinking with. Obviously, they invested in this game somehow, in Clear Obscure Expedition 33, because it was a day one Game Pass release. And it came out on Thursday, and they've been advertising it, and the game ended up getting rave reviews all around. It's like the game is reviewed well. It's really great word of mouth on it.
Over 1 million copies sold.
It sold 1 million copies. So it's like, it's doing well. Seems like it took a little bit of the wind out of this game's sails, or stole some of its thunder by surprise dropping the Oblivion remaster 2 days before this came out.
Surprise.
And that's another Game Pass release.
That was an interesting choice for sure.
Yeah, because there were a lot of people being like, well, I was looking forward to Expedition 33, but now I'm playing Oblivion. And luckily, Expedition 33 has sold over 1 million copies. It's doing just fine. But why?
Why? Yeah.
Considering how long of stretches we've gone between big Xbox releases or big Game Pass releases, the fact that we just got South of Midnight like 3 weeks ago, then you drop Expedition 33 and the Oblivion remaster in the same week, and we're only 2 weeks away from getting Doom the Dark Ages. So it's like, wouldn't you want to maybe put the Oblivion remaster surprise drop in a month where you don't have anything else big coming out? It's a weird choice to me. I also understand you maybe want to get this stuff out before summer, and kids are about to be out, and they're going to be able to play these games. But I mean, for me, I probably would have put a lot more hours into the Oblivion remaster had Expedition 33 not just come out. But I switched to that.
See, same, and I actually think that Microsoft fucked around and found out, because I think Clair Obscura Expedition 33 took the wind out of Oblivion sales, because this game is being talked about by everybody. It is being streamed by everybody. Oblivion's getting its moment in the sun, sure, but Clair Obscura is... It was on both of our most anticipated lists, I believe, for this year. And when it came out, the art style, 10 out of 10. Fantastic, beautiful game. The movements in combat, beautiful. The combat itself, invigorating is the word I would use. It's difficult to a very high level. It's very difficult, but it's learnable, and it is rewarding when you pull stuff off, when you're dodging stuff and you're pulling off combos. It feels amazing. The RPG elements are fantastic. All the characters play completely differently, and they all have different strengths and weaknesses. The story is wonderful. It's thought-provoking. It's emotional. And then the acting. It's so rare for digital faces to emote the way that they do. The main character, Gustav, like, the moments he's having with his companions, like, they're so genuine. They feel real. I feel sucked in, and, like, I feel for these people and the experience that they're going through. It's harrowing, and, like, it's hard. Games often try to set up, like, a feeling like things are dire. I have never been more scared of enemies than I am in this game. Like, every time you see one, you're like, any one of these could kill me. Like, you're never safe. You can beat all of them, but any one of them could kill you. And, like, it's that, like, it feels like Final Fantasy meets Elden Ring. And both of those are grade A titles that are revered, and I think that this deserves to sit up there with them. I think it is, if nothing changes, I think that this might be my game of the year. So,
I know it's super early to say that, but I'm right there with you. As somebody who loves RPGs and specifically turn-based JRPGs, this is right up my alley, but it's doing this awesome thing where there are games that take inspiration from other games and do it, but they still feel lesser than. And this is taking inspiration from things like Final Fantasy and Persona and these other franchises that I really like, and doing it like just as well or better. Even like the Mario RPG series is represented here, because you have not just turn-based combat, but then you have this timing, almost rhythm-based, dodging and parrying system. And later, as you go on, it adds in jumps, and it adds all kinds of different
man,
things.
when they added the jumps, I was like, oh boy. Yeah, man, just like Mario RPG for the Super Nintendo, also perfected in PS1's Legend of the Dragoon. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean, even just the normal grind of your normal mobs can be difficult if you can't grasp the timing or things like that to parry or dodge, and so that's done really well. And then like you said, add on top of it this amazing art style, incredible looking graphics, an awesome story that I'm truly invested in, some really good characters, and there's a point, Jahan, and I don't think you're there yet, but probably around like 12 to 15 hours into the game, when you reach the end of Act 1, there's a really big story thing that happens that kind of left me like, oh shit, like, okay, this is what we're doing. And the game has not let up since then.
Yeah.
And it's one of those cool games too that when you first get let out into the world map and you can kind of start exploring, there's a lot of different places you can go other than your main destination. And I would find myself wandering like, oh, what's over here? And I'd be about to enter a new area, and it would say on the screen, like, danger.
Danger, dude.
And so I'm like, oh, so that must mean I'm under level to go in here. And sure enough, you go in, and there'll be like a mini boss or, an optional boss.
And it just destroys you. Yeah.
And you're like, okay, not going there for a while. And so I like that level of freedom. But there's a lot of cool different areas in the game, but and the areas aren't even that big, but just with all the combat throughout and the exploration you can do, they feel a lot bigger than they are. It's just everything design wise about this game is really great. And it makes me think of like the things this game has taken inspiration from and then, fine tuned it for this game or made them better or, just because I mean they even add in things of like relationship bonds with your party and doing things like that. Like new mechanics keep getting added in. I'm like almost 25 hours in the game and they still keep adding new things that I really enjoy. And I remember when playing Avowed earlier, a couple months ago when that came out, and a game that I really enjoyed. But even still, I remember when we reviewed it saying, like, I like some of these quality of life things they did that are different from, like, an Elder Scrolls game. But there are also other things where I felt like it could have been fleshed out a little bit more.
Yeah.
And when I started playing the Oblivion remaster, I was like, yes, this is what I wanted. I like the fact that I can jump a lot and my acrobatics increases, or I can sprint a lot and my sprinting increases. And that... or I use this weapon a lot and I get better with that type of weapon. And that's something that I thought was lacking from Avowed. And so Avowed was a game that took inspiration from other games that I thought it could have done better. It still was a good... Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is an incredible experience all around. And it's crazy that this game, if you don't have Game Pass and you're buying it new, is only $50.
It's only $50, which is
wild.
Nuts.
This is... I've paid $70 for games that are way less enticing than this
way
game.
Less. Yeah, this game
way less meaty.
I haven't beaten it, so it's hard to just be like I haven't played it as much as I need to really definitively say, but right now this is sitting 10 out of 10 for me, dude. This is one of the best games I played in a long time. And yeah, man, the fact that it's $50 is crazy. Like I feel like they knew what they were doing with the price, though. Even though this is definitely a AAA title, they're a new studio with no, no history. So I think they're trying to build rapport, and I think that they have created, by discounting the game, I think that they created a very large fan base for everything that comes out from here on out.
Yeah, there's a world where on this podcast this would have been the main discussion of the day and like we could have reviewed this game, but it just is coming out at a time where we were just able to pre-order Switch 2s and Sinners is playing at the box office and Last of Us is airing on TV, and I feel like movies in 2025 for me have been a little bit subpar until Sinners came out. Like Sinners is the first great movie of 2025 in my opinion, but the fact that it's coming out when we're eating with TV and with video games makes it feel like the trifecta of things that we talk about on the show, that we're just at a high right now, which is pretty cool.
Everything's hitting right now, dude, and I'm a happy boy. Man, dude, that was good. That was good stuff. All that's left now is talk about our fresh picks of the week. I don't think I'm going to surprise anyone that's been listening. My fresh pick of the week is absolutely Clair Obscura Expedition 33.
And Clair Obscura Expedition 33 is also my fresh pick of the week.
Without
hesitation.
Hell yes. And like...
And
that's with Sinners coming out, and that's crazy.
Yeah. Had we done a show last week, Sinners would have been my fresh pick of the week, to be fair. But as of right now, this is where my time has been going. It's like when I am not working, and my kids are asleep, and I have a spare moment. Like this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm playing. It's what I want to be doing at all times.
I'm obsessed. If I made the game sound intimidating, don't feel that way. Everyone should try this game. If you don't like turn-based games, you might not like it, but it also might change your mind because this is one of the truly great games. They do so many smart things, from the Pictos turning into Lumas, and I know that doesn't make any sense to a lot of people, but to Drew it does, and like they just do a lot of really smart stuff. So yeah, Clair Obscura.
Well, even
33.
friend of the show and former co-host of the show, Gary, who is usually pretty outspoken about not liking JRPGs or turn-based RPGs in general, has put upwards of 15 hours into this game himself, and he's been messaging me and Jahan about it because he's really into it too.
Really into
so
it.
I think that's telling that somebody that typically doesn't like the genre is finding things to like about this game, which is pretty cool.
Cannot impress upon you how much you need to play that game. But hey, you'll have plenty of time to do that before we do our next episode. So, hey, this has been Fresh Out the Podcast, the greatest podcast in the universe. I've been the board game guru, game master extraordinaire, Jahananan.
And I am the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen. Thank you so much for joining us for an actually more jam-packed episode 149 than I even expected it to be. This was a full episode.
This was a big episode, yeah. We went a little long, but hey, you guys like us. Thanks everybody for listening. Stay fresh.